French Shalom, and greetings to you all. I hope you all survived the Ides of March, the anniversary of the death of the great Gaius Julius Caesar, who was one of the few Roman leaders who was a great supporter of the Jews and allowed them to practice their religion unhindered. Now, last week I heard from a lot of people because they really enjoyed having the little Sabbath service as part of the show, and I thought it was a nice thing to do. It makes for a more complete service for people, especially for so many of our friends who want to maintain an element of spiritual observance but do not belong or do not want to belong to a brick and mortar house of worship. They like our electronic house of spirit. And so I've suggested to you before that if there was only one biblical law you observe, try to observe a Sabbath, a ceasing. We all need to cease the day-to-day activity and rest and devote ourselves to ourselves and to spirit or infinite intelligence or whatever you want to call it, to regenerate and to mark some sacred time in a personal sacred space. The Sabbath is so important within the Torah laws, and it's something that everyone can do, in whatever fashion that they can do it. Now, traditional Jewish teaching, of course, says that every home is a temple. Your home is a temple. It's your tabernacle. The table within where you keep your candle, your cup, that's your altar. And on every Sabbath, we place the candle, bread, and wine on that altar, and we say blessings and share that cup and share the bread with whoever we're with. Now, these simple covenant rites have survived well over 3,000 years. And by partaking in that little ritual on the Sabbath, we reenact a covenant that originated on the altar of God, and we eat from the table of the Lord. We share a meal with God. And we can use this opportunity to welcome other people into our lives. Do the Sabbath with people you know. Everybody you know. To celebrate our coming together as a like-minded group. It is showing a faith of love as a community, a chavura, a fellowship when we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead, invite everybody you know physically, psychically, emotionally, spiritually to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה בטוב ובנאי. שבת אחים גם יחד. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community, community, community. Together. So as a community, let's all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the entire world, my friends. Everybody needs some goodwill and love. Now remember, friends, spiritual practice should be a sensual experience. And all of the prayers done at the Sabbath bring our senses into focus, engaging us completely. And they serve as a blessing for us and for God. We begin always with the candle lighting, which evokes our sense of vision. The flame reminds us that within each of us lives the divine fire that can illuminate the darkest place. May this light enable you to see the work that needs to be done and the awesome majesty of creation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to kindle the Sabbath light. Easy thing to do. We then raise our cup, thankful for the partnership we have with creation. May the fruits of the earth nourish each of us and sustain us through our journey. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Blessed are you, Lord our God, source of life, who creates the fruit of the vine. And we take the bread of the earth, the bread of life, and in tasting we share the grain of truth. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. Now these three things are enough to sustain us. Light, it helps keeps fear, the great thief, at bay. Water, juice, wine, whatever you choose to drink, and bread. Well, those are the things that sustain us and keep us alive. We receive our blessings and the gifts of creation, of life, from God. And so these little blessings is our turn to bless him and to thank him. It allows us to exercise gratitude. And in setting aside a few minutes of sacred time in your sacred space, it is your chance to actually take a moment and honor God. Mi chamocha be'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ne'adar HaKodesh, Nora Tahilot O Sefela, Nora Tahilot O Sefela. Who is like you, O God, among the gods worshipped? Who is like you, God of gods revered? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, fearsome with splendors, working wonders? And that prayer is said certainly on the high holy days, and it's often said during the Sabbath service. Because the Sabbath is a special time to both praise and imitate God, creation, even life itself. Blessed are you, Lord God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly course according to plan. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Blessed are you, our Lord, who brings on evening. And as we generate a spiritual connection that unites each of us together as a whole, we can gather together and send healing and renewal energy out to the world. So let's send some special prayers out for Mary Ann's father, for Marlou, for Joanne, for Deborah, Veronica, for the Cardinal, for Ben and Lindsay, for Mary and Renata, for Diane and Cindy, for Bob, and always for the Bee. So let's send love and renewal and healing to them and to whoever else you know who comes to mind. And of course, make sure you include yourselves, because you need renewal too, my friends. It is the kindness, healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out that circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each and every one of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit never dies. Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu, may the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Yishaberach, let us all have our spirits renewed, every single one of us. It's sacred time in your sacred space, even if only for a few minutes. It's all you need, my friends. If you can take the full day, that's great. But if not, these few invocations can be part of your intention, your kavana, your Sabbath service. Now today marks a new moon or a new month and a change in season. And each of the 4 days that mark a season has special meaning to them. The winter solstice is about the search for light. The autumn equinox marked the link between earth and heaven. The summer solstice measures loss and abundance. And the spring equinox, where we are now, is about the triumph of life. Now entering spring, we celebrate new life, rebirth, increasing light as we start in a state of balance. Now historically, the spring equinox was associated biblically with Noah and the ark and with the plagues. But more importantly, it marks the beginning of the year and the commencement of the calendar. And we're told so in Exodus when God is giving Moses the instructions for Passover. Exodus 12:2. This month shall be for you the head of the months. To you it shall be the first of the months of the year. I know we count the year from September. That's a whole other story. And we were told last week that on the first day of this month, the first day of the year, the tabernacle, the home of God on earth, was dedicated and open for business. Well, today marks that anniversary. Today is the beginning of the year. The tabernacle is open for business. Blessed are you, Lord our God, who guides the world, who makes creation, whose wisdom changes the times and turns the seasons, as long as the days of the earth endure. planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. Blessed are you, divine presence, who blesses the years. And of course, whenever we have a change of season, we want our intention, our kavanah for the season. And for each season and each month, we do set an intention. For spring, we borrow from the famous Song of Songs. Arise, my beloved, my fair one, come away, for now the winter is past. The rains are over and gone, the blossoms appear in the land, the time of singing has come, and the song of the dove is heard in our land. Okay, maybe these days the song of the dove will be like another week or 2 weeks away, but we'll see. But spring, it's new life. Now it also marks something else. Back in 1927, Georges Lemaitre, a Catholic priest, proposed an expanding model of the universe, and it was called the hypothesis of the primeval atom. And that later became known as the Big Bang. Well, this was debated for hundreds of years before, but ancient Jewish belief stated that the world began on this day, the March equinox, the first day of the year, and they say it was initiated by the lightning bolt of creation. And the great medieval Kabbalists worked out the order of the creation of the Sephirot on the tree of life and the planets and the months by the movement of the lightning bolt. Now, it's a fascinating reading, and I encourage you all to read it. And, so it ended up being, it took a few thousand years to give the lightning bolt of creation a much more scientific name, the Big Bang. So who says religion and science can't agree? We both agree it all started the same way. Well, the mystics also believe that first day of the year gave you a special opportunity. It gives you the chance to begin again in a state of balance, full equilibrium. We have equal light and equal dark, and you can choose how you want to live, which way you want to go. And so the first 12 days of the new year allowed you to put the energy into each day that would represent the 12 months of the year based on the energy for each of those months. So these first 12 days represent the 12 months of the year to come, and you can imprint your will on the blank canvas of the world. Now, I'll tell you also something interesting. Carved at the entrance to the Temple of Apollo at the Oracle of Delphi, which really is an amazing place to see, so I hope you all get to go there, was a sign that said, Noti Suton, know thyself. And you have to know yourself to create the year that is the right year for you. Now, the Greeks also had a term for extreme pride, overconfidence, arrogance, and it was hubris. And it stemmed from ego. So we have to learn to set aside our ego to truly know yourself and to design your 12 days, your new year, your new life. And in this new year, think about a question. How do you shift from fear to love? Love is what guides the universe, but we're ruled by fear. And in 2 weeks, we will celebrate the holy day dedicated to overcoming fear. And friends, there is a mind-body connection. There always has been. And that's what faith is. It is far more than just our ability to trigger our immune system to fight dis-ease. It's our ability to focus our energy on good, on positive, on love, on forgiveness. Okay, so now we've honored the Sabbath, the new moon, the new year, and the new season. So let's take a look at some Torah. This week we read Vayikra, and he called. Well, this is the book of Leviticus. It's the shortest of the 5 books of Moses. It's poised between the completion of the tabernacle after the Sinai Epiphany in Exodus and the wilderness wanderings in Numbers. And it seems like a long moment of stasis, dwelling chiefly on matters of ritual. Leviticus is about institutions, not individuals. Now, the Hebrew name of the book is called Vayikra for very good reason. Leviticus 1:1. And he called to Moses, and the Lord spoke to him from the tent of meeting, saying, Speak to the Israelites and say to them, which would become a catchphrase in this book and all subsequent ones, and be translated by rabbis down the road into having the force of law, as the Lord said to Moses. Anytime you hear that, you know there's law attached to it. So following the mighty acts of God in Exodus, Leviticus is disproportionately simply the words of God. Give the world a chance to say that the word is just the way. It's the word I'm thinking of. and the only word is love. It's so fine, it's sunshine, it's the word love. In the beginning, I misunderstood, but now I got it. The word is good. It's all about the words, my friends, from this point on. There's no actions. In fact, there's very little narrative in this book, barely 3 chapters out of 27. And there's no poetry, and we love biblical poetry. Now, the central concern of the book is the conduct of the cult, of the priesthood, with elaborate stipulation of how the sacrificial animals are to be butchered, what parts of them are to be burned on the altar, how the blood is to be ritually sprinkled on the altar, or in certain instances, daubed on various extremities of the celebrant of the rite. Now, unlike Genesis and Exodus, the entire book of Leviticus is set in one place, at the foot of Mount Sinai. Now, in Exodus, just like the beginning of Genesis, the universe, the land, the waters, the sky, is in complete disarray. But Leviticus is purely concerned with orderliness, with arrangement. Leviticus pictures the beginning of the solidification, the formation of an identity, a people formed through law. And there's no difference between civil, criminal, and ethical law. The laws are not merely listed. They're narrated as the words of God to Moses, and therefore they're presented as an integrated component of the story. A continuing scene has been set in Exodus. A column of cloud and fire is going to be visible at all times. And a tent of meeting, the tabernacle, it stands outside the camp. Moses goes in and out of the tent, his face veiled and then unveiled, bringing laws from God. The book begins with God speaking from the tabernacle, thereby establishing the tabernacle from the outset as the visible, present entity among the people through which the divine word enters the world. Now, if you're taking a break from Torah, this is the time. These are the priestly instructions. It's a manual for early religious law. We open with burnt offerings, grain offerings, offerings of well-being, sin offerings, and offerings with restitution. All of these sacrifices are part of the mechanism to be forgiven. A gift to God in exchange for forgiveness. Now, there's a formula for forgiveness, and it involves sacrifice. There is no suggestion in Leviticus whatsoever that repentance alone can ever bring forgiveness for violation of any of the laws. There's no indication that one can appeal to God's mercy, his grace, his kindness for atonement. In fact, the words repentance, sub, mercy, rachamim, grace, chen, and kindness, chesed, do not occur in Leviticus at all. And it places the priests who alone can perform sacrifice in a correspondingly critical role. It's all up to them. Learn the formula, commit a sin, make the designated sacrifice, obtain forgiveness. Now, in the absence of sacrifice, other means of atonement have risen in importance. Notably, the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, has become the most sacred and widely observed holiday. Whereas in the Torah, Passover, coming up in 2 weeks, the holiday of setting the ego aside and obtaining freedom from slavery, from fear, stands out as first and foremost of the holidays. But now it's about forgiveness. If you find it in your heart, can I be forgiven? Guess I owe you some kind of apology. I've escaped death so many times, I know I'm only living by the saving grace that's over me. Now, probably our second greatest struggle, freedom from fear being first, is obtaining and being able to grant forgiveness. Now, without temple sacrifice, my friends, it is harder to get and harder to give. It takes effort and seeing our real selves. With forgiveness taking priority over freedom, this book was understood to be more of an instruction manual for the priestly class than anything. And it was so important that from the Middle Ages on, Jewish boys were introduced to the Torah study not through the great story of creation and the tales of the patriarchs in Genesis, but through Leviticus. As Rashi said, let the pure ones come and study the laws of purity. Sacrifice is the only mechanism for forgiveness in the book of Leviticus. All of the ritual and ethical activity is tied to sacrifice. Now, we do not make too many animal sacrifices anymore, but we can still sacrifice something far greater when we are seeking forgiveness. Sacrifice your ego. Do not let hubris get in the way. Ego, my friends, is usually the thing that's holding you back. Yes, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Now share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, an end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. So let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts and honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe. Remember, we set in motion all that happens in our lives, our intention, our kavanah, our cause, our effect, everything's in. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what is good and bad, so acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you have wronged, and ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, with accountability, with vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate. The secret of forgiveness, my friends, of compassion and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people, and the world just as they are? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land, your home. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. And remember to have faith, an unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and of all of you. Please act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace in this year. And may you nurture kindness and love everywhere you go. Work to be present in the body, expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in your consciousness and the ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. So make the most of your time in this life. Continue to touch and transform the lives around you. You're never alone. You're forever blessed. You always have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet, health, love, renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Friends, your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. So be generous. Bless others and bless yourself, and love with the heart. We are all part of a much greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone's always going to be there for you whether you know it or not. Do not stop asking questions. Do not stop seeing the miracles that take place in your life. Explore faith. And do not accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel others have felt, whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other. We are each of us, all trying to listen to the words. Now you know that you are real. Show your friends that you and me belong to the same world. Turned on to the same word. Have you heard? Have you heard? you know that you are free. Living all your life at ease. Each day has its always. A look down life's hallways, doorways to lead you there. Open your ears and hear the word. Now be happy, be healthy, be helpful, be kind, and be loving. And print your will on the blank canvas of life. These next 12 days will determine what your year is going to look like. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. And we still have booklets if anybody needs them. Just feel free to drop me a line. I'll get you the booklet right away. So you take care, and we will see you all next week. Take care. Bye.